There is an extraordinary revolution taking place right now. All across America, roofs with solar panels are cropping up, and electric cars are appearing in our driveways. The green energy revolution is truly here. Even more exciting is the pace at which everyone is embracing it. Today, we see solar panels showing up on roofs of the rich. We're seeing solar panels showing up on the roofs of the poor. And we're seeing solar panels show up on Toyota Corollas. The green energy revolution is redefining our energy future because in many ways, it is our future. It is cheap, it is clean, it is renewable. The perfect antidote for climate change. But like everything else, it is not perfect. The dirty side of clean energy is real. An oxymoron in all regards, it has real effects, which is affecting the world today. Now, the thing is, just last year, China alone wasted enough clean energy to power Beijing, a mega city of almost 22 million people, for a whole year. You might think this is just a mistake, but it's not. The same thing is happening in Canada. The same thing is happening in California. This is not a mistake. It's not an isolated case. It is the wasteful side of clean energy we don't get to see. So the question is why? Why are we seemingly great at harnessing clean energy, yet so terrible at using it? Well, it turns out the solar geeks in this place, in this room today, can answer that question for us. And they call it something known as solar interpretability. Now, to us regular folks, I can't even pronounce it. That just means the time the sun don't shine. You see, we still use a lot of energy even if the sun isn't shining. And to put this into context, there's a very simple story of our solar story. Basically, the yellow represents the times when we generate the most amount of solar energy. The blue or teal shows when our homes use the most amount of energy, and the overlap shows when we're using our solar energy in our homes. And as you can see, there is very little overlap. So why is that? Why is that little overlap? It turns out that, well, apparently we use most of our energy at night. And so when there's solar energy available, we can't use that. Now, I come from a family of storytellers, and my mom told me, if you don't like a story, rewrite it. This solar story of energy waste is one that is unacceptable, and we need to do something about it. So how do I do something about it? Well, I retell my story. This here shows the energy, every line here you see shows the energy use of a home in America. And all there are about 1,000 of them. And they tell a similar story, one that we've seen so far. It tells us that we use our energy at night. This has always been the narrative. We use our energy at night, hence solar energy cannot work for us. Well, the fascinating thing is, if you look closer, that narrative changes. If you look a bit closer, that narrative turns into 3 stories. Look even closer in a splash of color, and we see 5 stories. It turns out energy works differently in each of our homes. So there is a chance for solar energy to work for us and not be so wasteful. So the question is, can we take these changes we see here, these differences in how people use energy, can we use that to help people use energy better within their homes? To answer that question, I built an algorithm, one that tries to learn everything about you and how you use energy within your homes. Now, it does this by finding trends and patterns and correlations within your energy data and uses that to improve how your home uses energy. Now, I wrote this algorithm and tested it on a virtual home in Arizona, and it worked. Okay, it worked, but it was awful. In fact, the home ended up wasting more clean energy than we thought was humanly possible. But here's the thing. Just like a baby learning how to walk, the algorithm soon started to pick up on the energy habits of the people living within the home. And once it got the hang of it, it started to do some truly amazing things. You see, the algorithm started to figure out the energy demands of the home. It also linked that with the weather forecast. And using these two, it was able to figure out the best times to generate and use solar energy within the home. Moreover, it started to intelligently store some of this energy for use at night. And it knew exactly how much to save by predicting how much activity is going to happen in the home that evening. Even better, it started to make money. See, it monitored the energy price and it sold any excess electricity we had back onto the energy grid. But it only did it when the energy price went up so we can make a profit. This is just a snapshot of some of the things we're able to do with clean energy, using nothing new, no new technology, just your own innate energy habits to help solar energy work better for us. But this is only the beginning. Just like an Uber and Airbnb, I also believe in the idea of sharing. Now, the current future we are looking at a future where every home would have a solar panel on its roof. But the future I envision is one where our homes can share these resources. And our algorithm is already taking huge strides towards making this happen. It's today allowing us to pair homes based on their complementary energy habits to allow them to use solar energy together and share these resources. Let's take a minute to imagine the implications of such a capability, especially in low-income areas where not everyone can afford to have a solar panel on their roofs. This is the clean energy future I'm building, one which merges the idea of artificial intelligence with clean energy ideas, one that harnesses your own innate energy habits to help solar energy work much more cleaner and waste a lot less energy. Clean energy today is extremely wasteful, but it doesn't have to be this way. Through research like mine, we're taking huge strides towards making solar energy work best for us, because the consequence of doing nothing is a story none of us here can rewrite. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Phil. Any questions from our judges? We have a mic coming down.
Hi, that was great.
Thank you.
I'm Antonina with the Western New York Environmental Alliance. I have a question about capturing this data at the household level and
Yes.
what kind of infrastruccture is needed within that household to be able to do that sensing or monitoring.
Yeah, great question. So currently, what we're capturing is your meter data. We're also dealing with homes which have smart meters on pretty much every equipment in the house. So what we have right now, we're looking at things from your washing machine to your lighting. They all have these little sensors on them. But this is when we're looking at a smart home. But then most homes obviously don't have this. So what we're looking at is just the raw sensor data, the raw meter data. And it turns out you can actually, just looking at the raw meter data, you can still extract different signatures which align themselves with like the TV. So we can still learn all these things using just raw meter data. But the cool thing is, if you look at third world countries, for example, which is one of the places we'll love this to go to, you don't have that data. So that's one of the roadblocks. We're trying to figure out ways to be able to bring such a technology in there in places where basically there is no data. How can the algorithm adapt to something like that? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so hi Philip. I'm interested to know more about how you sort of plan transacting this data. You talked a little bit about sort of making money through a revenue sort of system for individual households that could be transacted between different parties. Could you talk a little bit more about that?
Yes. So the current idea is we can have one solar panel and have multiple homes try to use it. And so basically this centralized algorithm basically takes in the energy use of each home. And it basically plays middleman. It looks at how each home uses its energy, and it figures out the best way to divide whatever energy is being generated by the PV panel to these homes. Now, in this sense, there is no monetary transactions happening at all. The money then comes in only when we start selling energy. And the way it would distribute that money, that would have to be decided by the people within this cluster of buildings who are sharing that energy. But the main focus here is just making it available for them to be able to share energy. The money part is nice, but that's not our main focus currently. But to add on to that, there's currently a lot of technology coming up, like blockchains, which are already tackling that money problem, enabling us to take away the energy grid and just have people automatically have revenue flowing between them. So I think that part can be sorted by blockchain. That's not the primary concern of our work.